right, so I just came outside to take a look at my beets, and I noticed something starting to happen around the root or stem of the beet plant. And I think this is a very common thing that happens to a lot of people who are growing beets for the first time. So let me show you what's happening, and then I'll show you guys how to fix it. So you'll see here, the actual stem of the beet is actually starting to crack, and that's caused by 3 different factors, and I'll get into that real quick. But let me show you guys what a healthy root looks like, just so you can compare. So you'll see here on this smaller plant, the root has no cracking, and it's the same color as the stems of the leaves. So that's a sign of a healthy beet plant. But let me go over those 3 factors that cause the cracking in the beetroot. So the first problem, but this is a problem across most gardening issues, is either you're overwatering or underwatering your plants. So I highly recommend getting a digital moisture monitor, especially when you're just getting started with gardening. It allows you to basically stab into the soil and check the moisture level. And these often come with some sort of pamphlet that will then show you like ideal moisture level for a given plant. So I highly recommend getting one of these. So I just wanted to go over overwatering and underwatering briefly because it can cause more problems than just cracked roots. So yeah, just keep an eye on that. And I'm pretty sure all you guys are going to be doing that one correctly at the moment. But if you're having trouble with that, get yourself the moisture monitor. And yeah, let's get to the other 2 things that are causing the cracked roots in my garden bed. So the second cause of cracking in your beet roots is due to a lack of nutrients. And those 2 nutrients that beet roots really need is phosphorus and boron. So phosphorus is that second digit in the fertilizer packaging. And so that's usually pretty easy to come by and usually labeled pretty clearly, while boron is not labeled as clearly, but usually in most organic fertilizer blends. I've got this Pennington, what would it be called? Rejuvenate. And if you look it up, it'll say that it has trace amounts of boron, and you don't need a ton of boron, just enough to help the plants grow. So the phosphorus is used for root health, and while the boron is used for creating a stronger cell structure. So both of those will lead to less cracking along your roots. So let me show you guys how I like to apply this fertilizer to my already established beetroot plants. So all you do is take a cup of your all-purpose fertilizer, sprinkle it around the base of your plants like this. Just kind of getting it nice in there. Boom. And then you'll do that across all your plants back, but I'll just show you guys for these front ones. I've already done this to my plants this week. Yeah, so all you do is just grab your hose and basically just water it in like any other fertilizer. Super easy, but it does the trick. And honestly, I would recommend applying a generic all-purpose fertilizer, I would say, I don't know, every 4 weeks during the growing season, and especially when you're prepping your garden bed, because that's when, you know, you can kind of establish the soil a little bit so that when your plants start to grow, they have enough nutrients already in the soil ready to grow. So that was 2 of the 3 things that can cause your beet roots to crack. But this last thing is usually the most common thing, but honestly, it's the most easy thing to get rid of, and that's pests. So pests cause a lot of problems throughout your garden, and I usually have problems with squash vine burrowers, and this is kind of a similar situation to that, where there's a plant basically digging into the root, causing the root to crack. And I've tried a lot of different things, but the easiest solution is using a neem oil mix. So I like to use this one because it's neem oil, soap, and essential oils. Those are the 3 organic things that really help repel pests from eating up your garden bed. And they're super easy to come by. I'll link all my recommendations in the description below. But basically, you just fill up a spray bottle and just shoot it along your plant leaves and roots. It does an amazing job at getting rid of all pests in your garden, and highly recommend doing this throughout the growth season. So let me show you guys how I apply this neem oil spray to my beet plants. So you should always do this in the afternoon because neem oil is kind of like a sticky coat that traps the bugs in. And if you do this in the morning, it can actually hurt some of the more beneficial insects that usually come around and pollinate your garden plants. So definitely do this in the afternoon. But yeah, so pretty much here, I'm just gonna spray over the top, and that'll be the first step of applying neem oil to my beet garden bed. So if you have more visible cracking, then we'll apply the neem oil more directly to the root. I know you guys can't smell this, but it smells like essential oils, which is kind of nice. It makes your garden smell a little nicer and it keeps pests away. So yeah, the last thing we do is just water over the top, let that neem oil soak in, and then we're set. No more cracked roots, baby. One quick thing, this is a basil plant right here, and you can see that cracking is also occurring on this plant. So the same strategy of watching the watering levels, fertilizing properly, and managing pests is also something you can apply to other plants as well. So yeah, that's how you prevent cracking in your beet roots. If you guys like this video, please hit subscribe, and as always, happy growing.